Hi, welcome or welcome back to Salty at 60. Today we are going to take a look at how dressing either more yang or more yin can help you define your style. And we're going to do this today. Well, I am going to take outfits out of my wardrobe and I'm going to dress them in a more yang style and then again in a more yin style. And hopefully that will take me closer to finding my own personal style. You can do this in your closet. I would just suggest that you keep some of the pieces similar so that when you compare the yin dressing with the yang dressing, you can maybe get a clearer picture on what your personal style leans toward. So let's get into it. So before we get started, I just wanted to say I apologize for the lighting. We have not seen the sun here in the Mid-Atlantic for days. It briefly came out once this week for a couple hours, but other than that, we have been having severe storms. We are getting severe storms again today, so it has made it really difficult for me to film. And hopefully you will be able to hear my voice clearly enough because I don't have a lapel microphone. I guess I have to get one of those because I don't often use this format where I just talk to the camera. I usually do my clothes and try-ons and then I do sort of a voiceover. So bear with me today if any of this is just a little bit shady. So I wanted to talk about the outfit I have on now. I just chose this pink, very plain, it's a t-shirt, it's a ribbed t-shirt. It doesn't have any embellishments on it. I don't think that it necessarily looks yang, and this is the first yang outfit look. I just feel like it's plain, there's not a lot of frills, it's not overly feminine. I have chosen not to wear any jewelry other than the ring that I always wear. No earrings, no bracelets, nothing like that. My watch is not on. And I just paired them with these trousers. Now, trousers are not, these burgundy trousers, they do have pleats in them, which can kind of be considered a yang style, a yang look. However, I do think that the color and the color of this shirt sort of keeps it on the feminine side. However, because I've kept everything really, really simple, no embellishments, no belts, anything else to go with the look. And then rather than using a more feminine shoe, I just stuck to these pink powdered sneakers, which sneakers, obviously, you know, that's unisex. We all wear sneakers. However, but when you put it all together and there's no embellishments, it does sort of give a more yang vibe. Okay, so for the second look, the yin look, I have kept the same trousers on, but I have added this very feminine, lacy pink shirt. As you can see, I'm keeping it all in the same color families to get sort of a good comparison. And then I added these really feminine, dangly pink heart earrings. And I added on a watch and bracelet. And I just changed out the shoes for these beautiful Coach shoes. I mean, these are sandals that I had purchased a while back. And they just make a nice feminine look. And you know, I can take a look and see and compare because I've got the same trousers on, the same colors on, and I can take a look on, you know, when this film is done and be able to decide what I like better. Did I like more of the yin look or more of the yang look? And that's not to say you couldn't add jewelry to your yang look. I'm kind of going to the extremes here to show you how different the two styles can look. Also, one thing I didn't talk about was the way you wear your hair can be more feminine or more masculine. If you are wearing your hair like in a slick back bun, that would be a little bit more of a severe look, a more polished look, possibly a more yang look, where my hair is just all over the place. I mean, I have curly, naturally curly hair, and even though it is cool here, the humidity is just over the charts. There's no way I can even fix my hair here today. So that's kind of where I'm at. But just keep that in mind when you do this at home and experiment with your own. Okay, for this next look, I am wearing a striped green and white t-shirt. Obviously, t-shirts are not, you know, neither male or female. They're more of an androgynous look, so because both sexes do wear stripes. Again, I have on trousers. However, I have baby blue trousers on, so you won't see too many men wearing those. And then I've added these Adidas green sneakers here, how you can see these. And again, I think that this is a more sporty vibe, a more relaxed vibe, definitely a more masculine vibe than you would see in a more of a yin look. And again, I took off the jewelry and I kept everything pretty plain. And of course, also, I mentioned hair and how that can affect, your look, whether it's more yin or more yang. And the other thing that affects it is your accessories. Like if I was to take a pair of sunnies for these, I've got this dark green pair of glasses. They're aviator glasses. That can also be pretty androgynous. Men and women do wear aviators, but the whole vibe is very cool. However, if I was to have added another accessory like a scarf or jewelry, it would have leaned a little bit to the yin side. All right, for this second look, what I did was I traded out the shirt for this beautiful white blouse. It has ruffled sleeves. I'm showing a little bit more skin here. I have added some dangly earrings, big hoops, and left the pants on. And then for the footwear, I have on these Coach sandals. They're a little bit more polished, but if you can see here in the camera, there's a little bit of gold detailing on the top of the shoe, which makes it a little bit more feminine. And I just think that this was a good look. You might also want to think about your handbags as well, because if you are going more for a yang look, you would probably want to use a more structured bag. And if you are going for a yin look, you can still have a structured bag, but you might want something that is a little more daintier in size or has a little bit more detail, just to add more of that feminine vibe to your outfit. So let's take a look at the last outfits. All right, in this last look, I have switched out the pants to be these navy blue trousers. And just again, if I haven't said so before, I kept with trousers, and I don't always have the right shirt to wear with specific colored trousers, because I was trying to keep the colors sort of in the same family as well, to do this little experiment on yang and yin. So what I did here was I took this off the shoulder loft shirt that I've had a couple years. It's got this fish print on it, but it is pink. And I am showing this here today for you with these beautiful Coach, again, sandals. I mean, they're just so comfortable, so pretty. They actually have like a patented pink on the top, so they're just very simple but very feminine. And like I said, I just did a little half tuck here, and I think this looks very feminine. I added, of course, kept the hoops on, so just by adding a little bit more jewelry. You could also wear, some beautiful sunglasses, a beautiful bag, and then you'd be ready to go. So for this final look for the navy blue pants, I've added on this very boxy, total 100% linen shirt, and just did a little half tuck here. And again, I put on the powder pink sneakers. Everything is super, super simple, super clean. And of course, these pants do have the pleat in them again. I have lost all of the jewelry. However, I did leave on a watch. I think on a watch is just simple enough to where if you want to lean more into your yang, you don't want to wear a lot of jewelry. A watch is a good thing. Or you could just make your jewelry very minimal. So when I think of yin dressing, I think more of ruffles, details such as like pearl buttons or dainty little bows or ties, or a dainty little tight pattern on the clothes, flounces, the bubble skirts, or those one thing that is trending. Those are the things that I think of with a feminine yin vibe to them. And for me, the masculine really just equates to clean, structured lines, very simple. It's very much like dressing in menswear. For me, though, I don't like to do all the dark colors together and then throw on, say, a pair of loafers, because then I just feel really too masculine. For me, I think I find the happy mix, and I do tend to lean a little more yang in my everyday life. However, I like to add the jewelry. I like the accessories. I like a nice bag, and I like more feminine colors. Now, I do have more trousers that I could have tried to do some more outfits here for you. My trousers, though, are more of a winter weight trouser, and they're just too hot to wear right now. So I hope that this you know, just kind of gave you an idea of some things you could do maybe in your own wardrobe, because you may want to shapeshift and you may want to do yang one day and then you're feeling a little more yin the other day. And that's just some tips and tricks you can use. You know, consider your makeup, consider your hair, consider the colors you're wearing, and have some fun with it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks.